Wait, do you know the 60%?
Is it working? Is it on now? Okay. So, the point of this self-assessment is to help you understand yourself. Okay? What I talk about in the book, is what the most important thing in your life, believe it or not, is not your education. Because most of you graduate and do nothing with it. 65% of you will not end up in a field that you studied for. That's pretty depressing. Okay? Now, I'm not saying education is bad, but the problem is you guys do something what I call learn and purge. You learn it, pass the test, and then you purge it out of your head. You just threw your money away.
What does B stand for?
Huh?
B?
B stands for blueprint.
Blueprint.
Okay?
How about A? A?
A is for action.
Action. Okay, N?
Nurturing.
Nurturing. Okay.
So I'm just gonna go right down the line what the B stands for. Okay, B stands for blueprint, and I'll show you this little thing really quickly. Okay? And a blueprint, you value stability, structure, systems, planning, process, predictability, responsibility, duty, rules, credentials, titles, and tradition. So what that means is, if I want to impress you, I'm going to have to be very well dressed. I'm going to have to be very conservative. I have to have all of my ducks in a row, and I have to know what I'm talking about, or else you won't trust me. Okay? And what does that mean to you? When you're talking to a supervisor or a boss and they're a blueprint, you better have all your ducks in a row, or you will not be able to convince them whatever you want to convince them. Okay? So with this type of value, you're better suited to be an accountant, a teacher, a lawyer, a manager, or an officer. Okay? The reason why I bring this up is this. If everybody has the same education, why isn't everybody succeeding? If you all have the same education, why aren't you all succeeding? Because it's not, go ahead.
Always knowing who you know, not using your resources correctly.
Okay. It's connections. How many of you are taught to network? Good. That's how I got my jobs. I have not written a resume since forever. Okay? I've gotten all my jobs through networking. People like me and they go, I'm going to hire you. Okay? It's the fastest way to get into something. I did a course where someone was training me to be an executive. Believe it or not, I'm a dance teacher, and he thought I was good enough to be an executive because of the way I speak, the way I communicate. So he gave me this course for free. He said, I'm going to tell you how to get an executive job. The number one thing for getting an executive job? Networking. Okay? Because if they like you, they will bypass HR. I got my job here through networking. They like me, bypass through everything. Okay? This is information you're normally not told. And this is why many of you struggle, because it's not told to you. And to me, that's the most important thing. Okay? So if you're a B, you like order. Now, here's a funny story. If you date an N, you're going to have a rough relationship. Because an N doesn't like rules. An N is an emotional person. B's don't like emotion. They want by the book. Okay? An N person is spontaneous. A B person does not like spontaneity. So if you're an N person, you say, hey, let's do this today. The B person goes, oh no, I got to check my calendar. Yes, sir?
I was going to just say, I think in that situation, like me and my girlfriend, she's like that. She likes on the dot. But I feel like you said, I feel like I've been with her for 5 years, so I don't know how she is. But I feel like when her plan doesn't go to fruit, since I'm so not keeping up the plan, I'm able to adjust for us, and it makes her plan.
And she can.
Yeah, but she can. But since I can think on the fly. It makes her set again, because I can make up for not following all the rules.
So you're responsible for saving your relationship
Sometimes, yeah.
because you can adjust.
Yeah.
Okay? I have a talk, which I might give later, called Don't Be a Dinosaur, Be a Cockroach. This has to do with business. How many of you have heard of Kodak? Kodak. Okay, do you know that Kodak used to be the 5th largest, most recognized company in the world? And you know why they failed? They didn't want to get out of film. And Kodak, their engineer, invented the digital camera. So Kodak had the digital camera first before anybody else, but they thought, oh, it's going to ruin our film, it's going to ruin our film industry, so they buried it. And look what happened to Kodak. Okay, how many of you have heard of Honda? You know how Honda started out? As a motorcycle company. And now they're one of the biggest companies in the world. You know why? Because they adapted. Many businesses that fail don't adapt to the times. Okay? For many of you, AI is going to replace your job before you even know it. It's a sad fact. Okay, I worked in another business where we talk about all these things. Our CEO was a former military officer. He was in charge of logistics for Iraq, for the Iraq War. You know, talk about responsibility. He was responsible for logistics, where the tanks go, where the ships go, where all this stuff. And he was telling us already, AI is going to replace the majority of the jobs within 10 years. Your degrees, depending on what it is only good for 3 years now. Okay, so you want to be versatile. You want to be able to adapt. Any questions? Okay. So moving on. So now, if you are an A, an action person, that means you like a lot of attention. You like freedom. You like flexibility. You like spontaneity. You like opportunity. You like excitement, attention, stimulation, competition, winning, fun, and image. So you guys like to be the center of attention. So you want to be in a position or you want to be in a job that you get all of the attention. Most of the people who are successful A's are actors, athletes, salespeople, public speakers, and entrepreneurs. Okay? Why entrepreneurs? Because they like risks. They like the excitement of something. So if you're going to be an entrepreneur, you want to work on your A personality. And if it's the last one on your list, doesn't mean it's impossible. It just means you have to change a lot in order to become successful. Because you're leading, especially if you're a nurturer, you're concerned more about what other people think. Whereas if you're an A, you don't care about what other people think. This helpful? So, see, the other thing they don't teach you is this. What is probably one of the most important things, skills you guys have to learn to be in business? What's the most important skill that nobody teaches you?
I feel like one of the biggest things is like communication skills. That's
Communication skills in what respect? In what respect?
Being confident, at least for sales, helps a lot, but they don't teach you that.
I think like how to conversate with people.
Okay. We're right there, same thing, but there's a specific word I'm looking
how
for.
to sell oneself.
There you go. How to sell yourself. Okay? Every business survives on sales. Every idea survives on selling your boss your idea. But if you don't click with your boss, you don't get to sell your idea. Okay? But you're not taught how to sell. You're taught how to comply. Do as you're told. Just get the paperwork done. And this is what I want to teach you guys is how to learn about yourself so that you can communicate with someone. Okay? If you are an A person and you're trying to talk to a B person, and if they're the ones in charge, you're going to have a challenge because you like the attention for yourself, but they like to follow rules. So trying to break the rules is you have to go around things. Okay? Your communication skills are the most important thing. Because if you can't sell yourself, or you can't sell an idea, no one's gonna, doesn't matter what you have. Or as they say, anybody see, what was that movie? Spaceballs? The Schwartz? Merchandising. Alright? Okay, now, let's talk about the nurturing. I'm a nurturer, which means I always come from helping others. That's my main thing, is I like to help others. I value relationships, I value authenticity, I hate fake people. I value personal growth, which is what I'm teaching you here. I value significance. I value teamwork, involvement, community, charity, ethics, harmony, morality, and contribution. So you ends, your challenge is how to let that go every once in a while and think of yourself. Because too many times you put other people's needs in front of yours. So that's what you ends have to work on, especially if you want to be an entrepreneur. And I am. So I have my challenges with that as well. Okay? So, I'm missing the jobs on that one. So the jobs for most nurturers are nurses, people who take care of others, doctors, things of that nature. Now, those with you who value knowledge. You value learning, intelligence, logic, self-mastery, technology, research and development, science, universal truths, expertise, competence, accuracy, and the big picture. You're the type of person who says, give me all the information, let me do the research. Am I correct? No, you're not that person?
No, I'm not.
So something is missing in your evaluation form. Okay? Remember, there were no right answers. It's not about being right. It's about understanding yourself and being honest with yourself. Okay? Because if you're lying to yourself, guess what? Nobody's going to understand you because you don't understand yourself. Because you don't know what ignites your fire, what gets you excited, things of that nature. So K's, what you have to be careful of is that people are emotional. They don't just always follow the rules. They don't always just follow what's written by the book. Okay? Who do you think established education system? A's, B's, or K's?
Sorry, I thought you meant, never mind.
No, who do you think?
I was thinking the military, but.
Huh?
I was thinking the military as far as education system goes.
No. What type of personality do you think does the educational system?
People who value knowledge.
Right, so K's and B's.
Yeah.
Okay, all the rules that you've done, that's why, for me, I have challenges sometimes, because like, this doesn't work for my type of what I do, because it's not based on knowledge. It's based on connection. Okay? But the majority of education is done by B's and K's. That's why you have rules to follow. That's why things are written specifically. If this was an N, it would be a free-for-all. It'd be like, do what you want to do, just make sure you finish. N's run the world. Now, the majority of the population, by the way, are N's. B's are roughly 10%, athletes are 10%, K's and N's are 35, 45%. Okay? So for those of you in K, you're best suited to be an engineer, a scientist, a programmer, an analyst, or a researcher. So depending on what field you want to go to, it will tell you why you're frustrated. Okay, so I have a student. His dad wants him to be an accountant. Guess what he wants to be? He wants to be a film director. Do you think he's happy? Doesn't match with his value system. Okay? You want to learn this stuff before you're 35. Many people live their lives until they're 35 and don't realize I've been doing something I hate versus working towards something you want to do. Okay? Again, is this being of value to you? Is this helping you understand yourself a little bit? What I want you guys to understand is how does this affect your life with the people you work with? I'll give you an example. My wife and I are the same. We both have the same personality. There is one thing. My B is a little bit higher than hers. I'm an NK, I wrote that wrong. I'm an NKBA. She's more an NKAD. So where we disagree is time. I'm always on time to the best of my ability. My wife is always late. Always late. To the point where our friends, they don't even tell us the right time to be there. They always tell us half an hour later. Okay? So like we had a wedding we went to go to, and they told my wife, be there at 4:30 because they knew it started at 5. We showed up at 5 on time. And here's the thing, and here's what I talk about relationships. So we worked out a deal. If it's her event, she sets the time. If it's my event, I set the time. What do I mean by that? If we're going someplace and it's my event, I can push her and say, "Hun, 10 minutes, 5 minutes, we gotta go." If she sets a time, I'm just gonna sit and wait till she's ready. Because if she doesn't wanna hurry for her event, why should I get stressed out? How many times does that happen to you guys? Right? Somebody's always on time, somebody's always late. And that's how you learn how to negotiate. Here's one of the skills they don't talk about either. How many of you are taught to work on your problem-solving skills? Just 2 of you? That is the number one thing companies are looking for. Problem-solving skills. Okay? They don't want an employee that they have to sit here and watch every second of every day and say, "Are you doing your job?" They want someone who takes action and does something. Okay, she knows how I run my class. I tell them my expectations. I don't tell them what to do. I say, when you come into class, class starts in 5 minutes, the music will be playing, 5 minutes, shut off, line up, count. Count yourself, we start the class. Every day, consistent. Okay? I want people to learn how to think for themselves, not to be told what to do. So if you get in that habit, you're gonna wonder why you don't get anywhere. Because you're always waiting for somebody to give you the okay. A's won't wait. A's will just do. B's will wait. K's will wait. N will definitely wait. N will just sit in the corner and wait for somebody to tell them what to do. How many of you are laughing at yourself now going, "Oh my God, this is right"? Scary, isn't it? This is actually a science. They did a test on this. And the thing is called BANK, or Code Breaker Technology. So if any of you want to improve your skills in sales, especially, well, all of you should. Because that's how you communicate. That's how you get your point across. How many of you want to be engineers? Okay, give me some ideas of what occupation you want to be. Entrepreneur, okay. All right, you got good personality. How about you?
Also not.
Okay. You want to work on being aggressive and getting organized. How about you? Entrepreneur. Oh. So yeah, you want to. Well, B is not too bad, but you're gonna have to work on your A, because you're gonna have to want to get attention towards yourself. Because as an entrepreneur, you got to be bold and get people to know who you are. How about you? Management, okay. You're gonna be a rule. You're gonna be the one by the rule. They're gonna love you.
Probably something along like tech sales. Maybe. Sales, like tech sales.
Tech sales, okay. Work on your K.
And that's last. Almost second.
No, your K is your second. So work on that. Be more knowledgeable. How about you?
I guess it's management, but I want to become a router.
You what?
A router eventually.
A realtor? Okay, what's
It's a
your
bank.
what's your
BANK.
oh, your BANK? Okay, work on your A little bit. Because realtors have to be outgoing. If you're too much, so what happens with a realtor, or okay, if you want to be a realtor, you have to learn to really listen. This is, by the way, this business was designed for realtors. Because what happens is realtors are focused on selling something instead of listening to what the buyer wants. I'll give you an example. We were in the market for a house. Okay, we told the realtor it has to be 3 bedrooms, it has to be this, this, and this. He showed us everything but what we wanted. Okay, did you think we bought anything? No, because he didn't listen to what we wanted. You have to learn to let what your customer wants. How about you? What do you want to do?
Same as the
Realtor?
management.
Okay, so because you're by the book, you have to learn to adjust because people buy through emotions, not through facts. Okay, and you have a tendency, bees have a tendency to do everything through facts. Well, you can save this much money, you can save this much money, or you can do this. I'll give you another example. My wife and I went to Jamaica. Jamaica? Caribbean. And I bought her a ring, which the value went through the roof. When I first bought it, it was really cheap, but they ended up closing some eyes and went through the roof. And this guy kept trying to tell us that if you buy this certain thing, it's gonna quadruple in price. I looked at him and said, I'm never gonna sell it. So it doesn't matter if it quadruples in price. But he kept trying to tell me, but it's gonna be this value. And I said, I don't care. Okay, so was he listening to me or was he trying to sell me? He didn't listen to a word I said. Okay, that's how you lose customers. You have to listen to what they want, not what you want to sell. Especially if you're gonna be on a person-person type of business. Anybody else wanna share? I know I don't wanna pick on everybody here. Anybody else wanna share what they wanna be?
Market research analyst.
What?
Market research.
Market research,
analyst,
okay. Good, the fact that you're okay as a second should be good. Because you're gonna care about the responses.
Yeah.
That's important. How about you?
Sports management and coaching. Sports management and coaching.
Perfect. You have the right personality for it. Okay? So, point being is this. The more you learn about yourself, the more you understand why you do the things you do, the more you understand why things don't work. The problem is we don't look inward, we look outward. Okay? Let me ask you this question. How many, let's try this again. There was an opening in San Francisco for an internship, one position. How many people do you think applied?
Over 400.
Huh?
Over 400.
Over 1,200. So, if you are one of those people, what's going to make you stick out over those 1,200? See, you're not told that. You're told get a degree, get an education. Everyone else has your degree. You have to think what's going to make you stick out. Okay? Anybody else? Okay. Any other unusual jobs that people want to get?
International text.
What's that?
International text.
International tech? Okay, well then you're okay, that should work for you. Somehow I don't feel you're in touch with yourself on that one. Because it didn't, you didn't light up when I said that. So something is not corresponding. If you're excited about something, you'll light up. So there's something you gotta be clear about yourself to figure out what you wanna do. Okay? A lot of times, and I've worked with a lot of students, and what I found is this: your childhood affects you more than you realize. Your attitude, your self-talk has a greater effect on what you're going to become than anything else. Okay? As I get to know my students, I get to long talk to them. And I find out where they come from. I'll give you another example. I had this girl, and she came in to me, and she was constantly talking negative about herself. I just looked at her and said, what was your childhood like? And she told me. And now I know why she talked negative about herself. Both her parents were drug dealers. She was rejected by her own parents. So what happens, she takes that internally as no one cares about her. So she confirms that belief by talking negatively about herself. And that carries on to her life. See, all these little things you don't think about will affect you later. How many of you have your mind blown right now? Or like, wow, this is fascinating, or are you challenging me? Yes?
I agree with you. Based on what you said right now, what we have through childhood, it affects in future.
Mhm.
And I agree with you. Like
Yeah.
I have been raised. My parents were excellent parents, but we were raised under restrictions, values, and rules.
Mhm.
Sometimes, if you wouldn't be able to make yourself up to that value that was set in the house,
Mm-hmm.
then it was just a negative feedback. And
So-
due to that, when I came to United States in the first years, I was very quiet and always would thought like, okay, this action of me should not make my family look down or at me, or I should not do something that somebody says your parents will not raise you right. So
Mm-hmm.
that stayed for a long time for me, but thankfully, once I got my own kids, I changed my personality.
Yeah, I changed too. I did. Just so you understand where I come from, I come from a very successful family. My uncle is one of the richest men in the Philippines. And I didn't know that. I was actually very privileged. I went to an elite school. My fellow classmates were senators' sons, presidents' sons, and things of that nature. But I was 6 years old. What the heck did I know? Okay? My grandfather was a judge and a senator. So I grew up with as I was growing up, my mother had very big expectations of me. All my aunts own businesses. One of my aunts owns a university. Okay, so they're all very successful. But then when I tell my mom I'm gonna be a ballroom dance teacher, she looked at me and said, I could understand you being a dance teacher if you were mentally retarded. That's my own mom. Okay? But I believe in what I do, and what I do is I change lives. Most people just think it's dance, but dance does so much more to your confidence and your ability to be out there. I've changed, 7 of my students changed their careers after they took dance lessons. We became professional dancers. Okay, so it shows you it's a very powerful thing that it becomes. The whole point I'm trying to make here, guys, is this. If you want to be successful in life, you have to look inward, not outward. You have to understand yourself and understand why you stopped doing what you're doing. Your self-talk is more important than your education. Okay? These are the 3 things that will make you successful. Your mindset, your habits, and your choices. Look at any millionaire book, on any book on success. You will never see the college courses I took to be successful. You will have the 7 habits of highly successful people. Secrets of a millionaire mindset. It's never about education. Don't get me wrong, education is important, okay? But you have to use it. If I teach you how to use a hammer, let's say I teach you how to use a hammer. Do you know how to use a hammer? No, you don't. But you know how to use it.
I know how to use it. Yeah.
Have you built a house?
No.
Then you never really used, you know the basics.
Yeah, that
Same thing with your knowledge. I can teach you all kinds of stuff, but until you do something with it, it's irrelevant. But that's not what you're taught. That's the thing I've been trying to instill in my students. Everything you learn, you want to retain because it'll be of value to you. If anything, learn math. You can never go wrong with math. Basic math. If you don't know basic math, you're messed up. You're going to be screwed. I used to work in the loan industry. I was a loan officer. And true story, they would take advantage of Mexicans. They would never take advantage of Asians. You want to know why? What are Asians good for? Yep. And they believe Mexicans weren't good at math. so they would add more points. I quit the industry because like, I'm not gonna do with this. It's immoral. But that's a fact of life, okay? If you don't know your numbers, people will take advantage of you. I have one thing I want to share with you, and this is important. How many of you heard of the rule of 72? I'm going to jump ship a little bit. How many of you heard of the rule of 72? Okay, a rule of 72 is a financial principle that teaches you how long it takes for your money to double. Okay, you want to remember this. I remember this in high school, and I graduated in 1975. So here's the rule of 72. You take a number, whatever your interest rate, divide it into 72, and that's how many years it'll take your money to double. How many of you have savings? Who can tell me their interest rate?
4.9.
4.9?
Yeah.
Sure, that's a savings? That's pretty good. It's not a CD?
No, it's a high yield.
Okay.
Amex has it 4.9.
What's that?
Oh, sorry, Amex is 4.9.
Okay. 4.9, that's not too bad. Okay? So, let's make it easy. Let's make it 4. How long will it take your money to double? Take 72 divided by 4. Okay, come on guys, if you're gonna be in business, you gotta do this math in your head. 72 divided by 4.
8.
Huh? 18, so it's gonna take your money 18 years to double. How many of you have credit cards? What's your interest rate? Most of you don't even know.
Like
30. Take 72 divided by 30. That means your debt will double in 2 years. And you wonder why you guys are falling behind. When I was growing up, interest rate was 12% for credit cards. Now 29%. Okay, why is that important to know? It's to show you that the banks aren't trying to help you make money. The bank is not there to help you make money. The bank is there to help itself make money. And so they will take advantage of every single math problem you don't know. Okay? So if you wonder why you can't get out of debt, it's because your debt will double in 2 years because of the interest rate. But your savings will take 18 years before it'll double. Okay? That's why your generation has it a lot harder than my generation. My generation, I worked at Sears part-time. I could afford a 1-bedroom apartment on a part-time job. You guys can't afford a full apartment on a full-time job. Anybody knows how much you need to make to rent an apartment?
3 times.
Huh?
It's usually like 2.5 to 3 times.
Okay, give me a number. You need to make 70K.
Yeah.
Okay? So you guys are a big disadvantage in that sense. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is this. If you want to be successful, work on this. It's not how much you know, it's how much you're willing to push through all of the stuff that you're going to be fed. Okay? You have to learn how to overcome challenges. If you can't handle challenges, your life will be very challenging because everything has a challenge. Anybody here a sports fan? Okay, Niner fan? Football fan? Okay, what does it take to win a championship? A lot. How many teams have never won a championship? A lot. Why do they keep doing it? Because it's worth it. Anything worth doing is going to challenge you. And if you think you're just going to breeze through something, that will be your challenge. How many of you heard of Robert Kiyosaki? Okay, Robert Kiyosaki wrote, not Rich Man, Poor Dad, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Okay, it's a very well-known book with regards to finance. Notice he doesn't talk about education, right? He talks about thinking, mindset, and all these types of things. What else? Any questions? So, did you guys learn something? Learn about yourself? Okay, did I challenge you to think about yourself? So if you're interested in my book, it's called Words Matter. What I focus on here is focusing on your self-talk. because your self-talk is what's gonna help you make it through life. If you talk negatively about yourself constantly, you will sabotage everything in your life. And if you don't understand where that negative comes from, that's when you gotta take a deep dive. Work on your communication skills. Those people who can sell get further because they can make a point and get it to the other side. They can get their product done. They can get the idea produced. Okay, so work on your communication skills. I think that's all I have left.
Wonderful. That definitely is more fun than my class. Okay, access code 4831 for reflection, and we will collect everybody's, what have you learned? Ask Bud a question, and we will send a summary to Bud after ChatGPT summarizes it for us. So please put it in, and it will be locked up at 3. And, but before Bud leaves, and I just have a little souvenir for you.
Oh, thank you.
And maybe you'd like to have a notebook,
Yeah, a journal, definitely.
and this is from my, my association, Strategy and Competitiveness.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
That keychain, you can
Oh, yeah.
detach it, so you can
I
take
agree.
it apart.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, one of these
Yeah,
things.
in the middle, so it's convenient, yeah.
Gotta be careful with that sometimes. I lost my keys because of attachment.
Yeah, I need it because I need to attach to my bag. So.
Any questions? No?
No, well, they will put it in. They will put in their questions, and then I'll send it to you.
All right, thank you very
Okay,
much.
thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
And you guys, when you're done,